Hello guys, this is Dr. Rajalakshmi, Associate Professor from RMD Engineering College. Welcome to today's tutorial on Java Layout Managers. Java Layout Managers are used to arrange components in a particular manner. The Java Layout Managers facilitates us to control the positioning and size of the components in graphical user interface forms. Layout Manager is an interface that is implemented by all the classes of layout managers. There are the following classes that represent the layout managers: border layout, flow layout, grid layout, card layout, grid bag layout, box layout, group layout, scroll panel layout, spring layout, etc. Java border layout. The border layout is used to arrange the components in 5 regions. Say north, south, east, west, and center. Each region or area may contain one component only. It is the default layout of a frame or window. The border layout provides 5 constants for each region. Public static final int north, second one is south, third one is east, next one is west, and the last variable name is center. There are 2 constructors for border layout class. The first constructor is border layout without any argument. It creates a border layout but with no gaps between the arguments or between the components. The second constructor is the constructor with 2 integer parameters. The first integer parameter represents the horizontal gaps between the components, and the second argument represents the vertical gap between the components. So it creates a border layout with the given horizontal and vertical gaps between the components. Next, we are going to see an example program for border layout. In this example program, we are defining a class with the name border. Inside this border class, we are creating a frame object. Actually, this frame object is a container object. It can contain multiple number of components in it. So such a kind of frame object is created. Name of the frame object is F. Now, apart from this, we are creating 5 number of components also, 5 number of button objects also. The first button is B1 and the other buttons are B2, B3, B4 and B5. So in this way, 5 number of button type of components are created. Now, using this add method, the button components are added with the frame object. So using the very first statement, the first button component B1 is added with the frame F in the north direction. So we are passing the argument border layout dot north here. Then the second button component is added in the south direction of the frame, and the third button B3 is added in the east direction of the frame. B4 is added in the west direction of frame, and B5 is added at the center of the frame F. Now, when you execute this program, we'll be getting this as the output. All the button components are added in the respective directions of the frame. Now we are going to see the second type of layout. The second layout is the grid layout. The Java grid layout class is used to arrange the components in a rectangular grid. One component is displayed in each rectangle. Here we have 3 types of constructors. The first constructor is the constructor without any argument. Actually, it creates a grid layout with one component per component, one column per component in a row. The second constructor is a constructor with 2 arguments. The first argument represents the number of rows and the second argument represents number of columns. So it creates a grid layout with given rows and columns, but no gaps between the components. The third constructor is using 4 arguments. The first 2 arguments represents the number of rows and columns, whereas the third and fourth argument represents gap between the horizontal and vertical directions. So it creates a grid layout with the given rows and columns along with the given horizontal and vertical gaps. This is the example program for grid layout. Here, the very first, that is, the class with the name grid layout example is created. Inside this class, frame is created. It is going to be the container object. So, apart from this container object, we are creating 9 number of button type of components also. Now, these button type of components are added with the frame objects. And we are setting the layout as grid layout by passing grid layout, that is the object of grid layout, as an argument to the set layout method. We are applying grid layout to the frame. And here, since we are not passing any argument, all the components are arranged in a single row, one component per column. So this is the output of this program. If you want to arrange all the components in a particular number of rows and columns in a rectangular grid-like structure, then we can pass the arguments like the number of rows and number of columns to be used. Here, if you pass a grid layout of 3, 3, then all the 9 button components will be placed in a 3 by 3 rectangular grid-like structure. So output of the program will be this. So now we have seen 2 types of layout managers. One is border layout and another one is grid layout. Thank you.